Welcome to Personality Speaking, where the tea is always hot. My show is dedicated to helping you understand each other and to build healthier, stronger relationships through the understanding of the personalities. This show airs live every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to know more about this show and about the content, or even if you want to be a participant on the show, you can go to my website, which is here, beyond2llc.com. That's beyondtwollc.com, where you can find out more about the four personality styles that we discuss. Now, this, in case you don't know me, first of all, my name is Karen Ward. I'm an advanced certified personality trainer and speaker. I am a personality coach. I am also the author of the book, Coupled for Life, Overcoming Personality Differences in Marriage. And we're going to be talking about that tonight. The four personality styles that we talk about are based on the personality trait theory that was developed by the world-renowned and late Florence Littauer. And they are two introverted personality styles and two extroverted personality styles. The extroverted personality styles are the popular sanguine and the powerful choleric. The popular sanguine is the fun-loving, engaging personality that loves being around people. They love people. I always say the three F's: the food, fun, and fellowship. That personality style can be also very flighty and forgetful, and it can be moody. Then you have the powerful choleric, and the powerful choleric is a born leader, a mover, and a shaker. They get more things done in the morning than most of us get done all day. However, they can be bossy and controlling and abrasive and curt in their communication. So those are your extroverted personality styles. And extrovert simply means you get your energy from other people. So let's talk about your introverted personality styles, which means you get your energy from within. The introverted personality styles are the perfect melancholy and the peaceful phlegmatic. Now, the perfect melancholy is a very compassionate person, highly intelligent, deep thinker, but also they could be prone to depression, moody, they can be critical and judgmental. And your fourth and final personality style, which is also your introverted personality style, is the peaceful phlegmatic. The peaceful phlegmatic is cool, calm, collected, chill, like they're loyal and dedicated. However, they can be disinterested and uninvolved, and they can also be sarcastic in how they communicate. So that's just a brief understanding of the personalities. If you want to know more about it, please go to my website. There's some information there. If you want to have me come speak at an event or to do a training for you, you can also reach me through my website. I'm doing this because I personally think that most conflict and most failed relationships and things that don't go well in your interactions with people are usually based on misunderstanding. Misunderstanding. And if we understood each other and understood each other's personalities, I think that we would be able to change the future of this world. I don't think that people understand just how critical understanding each other's personality is. We are able to then navigate relationships in all areas of our lives, whether that is interpersonal relationships, in business, or in ministry, or in your household with your spouse or your children or your parents or your in-laws. Understanding yourself first and then understanding the personalities of the people that you come in contact with on a day-to-day basis will help you bridge the gap of understanding. So I'm just excited about what we're going to be talking about tonight. I don't have a guest tonight. I will be lining up my guests for future shows. I'm sorry, I will be giving you a lineup of my guests for future shows shortly. But meanwhile, I'm here for you tonight. I will answer whatever personality related questions you have. Although this show tonight is talking about um, navigating personality differences in marriage, it is really navigating personality differences in all facets of your life. So if you're interested in really creating stronger relationships with people or fixing some of the issues that you have with others, this is a show for you. All right, so let's talk a little bit about um, tonight's topic. First of all, I want to tell you one of the reasons why I'm doing this segment on marriage and people who are interested in getting married. Like, I do a topic on marrying your personalities. And so this is, people ask me frequently, what personalities are better suited? So we're going to talk a little bit about that and why that is tonight. But I want to talk a little bit about each of the personality styles. The reason why I'm doing this is because I'm doing a marriage workshop in February the 3rd, at 12 noon to 2 p.m. So a short 2-hour workshop, unless you want to hang in there a little bit longer, and we can. It's called Building Forever. And we're going to be in this workshop, as the subtitle suggests, exploring the personalities for a stronger marriage connection. That's going to be held at the Richard Wright Public Charter School on 475 School Street in Southwest Washington, D.C. There's underground parking. There's also street parking. There's also going to be some, as I always like the 3 F's, food, fun, and fellowship. I'll bring the fellowship and the fun, but there's also going to be some food, some light refreshments for you. But we want you to have a time where you connect with one another and that you build the kind of connection that you really want out of your marriage. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the personalities as it relates to people who want to be married. And this applies to you if you're already married. All right. So again, I'm Karen Ward. I'm a certified personality trainer and speaker. I'm also a personality coach for those who are having difficult times in their relationships, no matter what type of relationship, and you want a coach to help you to manage or facilitate or work through some of those differences. I'm your girl. Reach out to me through my website. All right, let's get started. Let's talk about personalities and relationship. In order for you to have a healthy relationship, what you need is not just love. Is not, and this is a quote I got, I love this. For a healthy relationship, what you need is not just love, but also trust, understanding, forgiveness, commitment, and respect. This holds in all relationships, whether it be parenting, a love relationship, a friendship, a marriage, or employee relations. And that was a quote on a website called Sidecat Game. Again, for a healthy relationship, what you need is not just love, but trust, understanding, forgiveness, commitment, and respect. To have intimacy, to have someone understand you or to understand your mind is a different kind of intimacy. To have somebody to really take the time to understand you and then but also try to understand your mind, understand how you're wired, that is a different kind of intimacy. That's somebody who cares enough about you to want to know more about you, to know what really makes you tick, to know how you're really wired. It is critical for you, if you're going to be in any kind of relationship with anybody, for you to try to understand that individual. And a lot of times, I think what happens with us is that we tend to think we know what someone else is thinking, and how someone else is feeling, because that's what we would think and that's how we would feel. But that's not necessarily the case because we're wired differently, and therefore we would communicate differently. We would see things differently because we see through the lens of our personality. And if I have a different personality than you have, clearly I'm going to see something different than you will in most cases. All right. Let's talk about each of the traits. So now we're going to talk about one of the um, extroverted personality traits, the sanguine. Remember, the sanguine is, the bubbly, outgoing personality. And so some of their quirks is that they are outgoing. We are outgoing because I am a popular sanguine as my primary personality style. We're outgoing, we're enthusiastic, we're talkative, and we're optimistic, just the way we're wired. Some of our qualities are we're sociable, we're creative, we're energetic, and we're adventurous. We love to have fun. We love a sense of adventure. We love being around people. We love being creative. I remember at one time thinking I was not a creative person. And I remember somebody said, we're born from the creator, therefore we are creative. And I agree with that. Let's talk about some of the challenges of a popular sanguine. We have a tendency to be impulsive. That is no lie. Like my husband and I got married because I was like, why don't we go get married? Why don't we get married today? He was like, today. And then I picked a date and he said, okay, that works for me. And we got married like that. But he's also secondary sanguine. So you know that. But we tend to be impulsive. We may struggle with follow through. Yeah. Not that we may, most of us struggle with follow through. It's mostly because we're forgetful or we're flighty. We say things and we're excited about what we're saying and we mean what we say when we say it, but we don't follow through necessarily. And we seek constant excitement. Like we want to have fun. We're the kind of people that we just have high energy and we're always trying to do something that keeps our energy up. I remember last year we went on vacation with another couple for Valentine's Day weekend. And Valentine's Day I think we went 3 or 4 days. And my friend had her Apple Watch on. And she kept looking at her watch. And I said, well, why do you keep looking at your watch? You got somewhere to go? And she said, no, my watch is telling me that I'm overstimulated. And she was an introverted personality style. Her primary is introverted personality style. And my husband and I are both like at the 100-degree sanguine and cholerics. And so we're loud and talkative. And so the poor girl, I felt so bad for her. I said, well, you need to turn that watch off because we're going to overstimulate you for the next few days. Because that's how we are. Some of our challenges are we are impulsive, right? Those are our challenges. We're impulsive, we struggle with follow through, and we seek excitement. Now let's talk about a couple of the tips. One of the tips is we have to encourage ourselves, and we have to be encouraged to plan and provide a positive reinforcement for completing things. Like you have to give us a pat on the back because we like you to pat us on the back and tell us we're doing a great job. And in order for us to get that great job, we have to finish the project or whatever it is we're trying to get accomplished. So we need that positive reinforcement in order for us to get things done. Now, one thing about us, once we get it done, we might not remember we did it. Not long after we do it, but we will get it done eventually. We have to learn to balance our excitement with the practical things. Like there are just some things that we just need to get done. So let's just say, for instance, if we're looking to buy a house, that's very exciting for a sanguine because we're looking to do something new and exciting and fun. And the place will be new and it will be a place that we can have company over and enjoy our company and have fun. But we have to balance that with the practicality of what needs to occur in order to buy the house. Like you got to get things in order to buy a house. You need your finances in order. And we typically struggle in that area because we want to spend every dime. We live for the moment. We need to get our paperwork in order because, buying a house requires so much paperwork. So we need to get our paperwork in order. So we just need to be able to balance the fact that life can be fun, but we also need to make sure we're doing the practical things to get through our day to day. All right. So if you have any questions or comments you want to make, please put them in the chat and I will either put them on the screen or I will answer your questions depending on how you want. If you want it anonymous, I'll do that anonymously as well. All right, let's talk about the powerful choleric. The powerful choleric's quirks are that they're assertive, they're very goal-oriented. It's all about the goal, it's all about the task, it's all about the accomplishment. They're strong-willed, like you don't need to tell them what to do. They can get things done without any help. And they're extremely decisive. And it's really odd to have a sanguine and a choleric personality because where the sanguine is forgetful and flighty and fly by the seat of their pants, my secondary is goal-oriented and decisive. Some days, not so much. So it depends on where I'm operating in my sanguineness or my cholericness. It just depends. All right. Some of the qualities are the choleric are natural leaders. They are born leaders. You see a choleric little kid and they are telling people what to do. They're telling their mother, stop. No, I don't want to. I want this. I want to wear this. Take me here. I want to eat this. I don't want that. So choleric all day. They're very organized, very, very efficient, and determined to get things done. Now, if you go to an event where a choleric is in attendance, the choleric is already critiquing how things are and how they could have been better had they been in charge. You can always count on a choleric personality to take control of your event. The choleric challenges are they can be perceived as bossy. They may struggle with being flexible. And a lot of times they overlook your emotions in their decision-making process. You are emotional about it or it's a problem for you. It is not for the choleric. So understand that about the choleric is that it's not that they are intending to hurt your feelings. It's just that the choleric personality is a personality that is about getting things done and making things happen. They're not about catering to people's feelings or even considering sometimes people's feelings. They really are about how do we make this thing or that thing happen? Okay. A tip for the choleric is to foster open communication. And the way you do that is by allowing other people to complete their sentences. Because cholerics have the tendency to want to complete your sentences because they already know where you're going before you get there. So you have to foster open communication by being quiet and allowing someone else to communicate their thoughts and feelings about a situation. You have to acknowledge that person's emotions because they are important to them, and they could be valid. You are to also encourage compromise. That's with you and other people. And if you are asked to intervene in a situation, it is between for you to encourage other people as well. Now, the last part of that is you have to make sure that the choleric understands that it's important to be adaptable, because cholerics are set in their own ways. Cholerics believe there's no way, there's only one way, and it's their way or the highway. And so the choleric needs to learn how to be more flexible. And if you're working or dealing with or living with, or in a relationship with a choleric, that choleric needs to understand the benefits of being adaptable. All right. So let's talk about the perfect melancholy. The perfect melancholy. Thanks, Sabrina. The perfect melancholy, their quirks are they're thoughtful, analytical, detail oriented, and very sensitive. They're super sensitive. Some of their qualities are they're creative and empathetic, organized, and loyal. Now, the melancholy personality is very creative. Typically, melancholies are artists in various forms. So singers, dancers, musicians, visual arts. They're usually very, very creative. They also can be architects because they're very detail oriented. They tend to be medical doctors, things of that nature. But because they're very creative, they express themselves in a way that others don't, and usually in a very deep way. Some of their challenges are they really overthink things. They overanalyze to the point of analysis paralysis. It's analysis paralysis. It's when you have analyzed something so long that you're not moving on that thing. And we call the perfect melancholy a perfect melancholy because they strive for perfection. And some of that tendency to overthink has to do with perfection. The fact that they want it perfect. But what difference does it make if you make something perfect if you never deliver on this something that you're perfecting? How about that? They also fear criticism. They are afraid that people are going to judge them and assume things about them. And they really struggle with letting go perfectionism. And the reason why they struggle with that is because it's the way they're wired. They're wired for accuracy. They're wired to make sure things are accurate. That's why they're always asking you, is this correct? Did you look this over? Then they're finding your mistakes. I think it's funny because when people, I'm one of those people that when I read a book, I don't find all the errors in a book, but melancholies do. If they read a book, sometimes they get stomped. Sometimes they're writing down everywhere they found an error, and they'll email the author and let the author know that you had all these errors. Because they can't help themselves. That's how they're wired too. Okay, so some tips are to offer reassurance to the melancholy because remember they're sensitive. To encourage positive self-talk because they're also self-deprecating. They beat themselves up a lot. Emphasize the importance of flexibility. Melancholies have a difficulty with flexibility, just like the choleric personality, because the melancholy personality, where the choleric knows that everything, there's only one way to do things, and that is their way, right? The melancholy thinks is only one way to do things, and that is the right way. So it has to be right, but it's also right according to them. And you have to appreciate the attention to detail that a melancholy brings, because you can count on the fact that they have lifted up they have turned over every stone and found everything that is necessary to find in any situation. All right, let's talk about the fourth and final personality style. All right, we're talking about the peaceful phlegmatic. Let me go back here. Sorry about that. The peaceful phlegmatic. Their quirks are they're easygoing, they're calm, they're very diplomatic and empathetic. So you can count on them to empathize with anything that you're going through and to try to keep the peace at all times. The qualities of a phlegmatic are they're patient, they're great listeners, they're reliable. If you need a friend, you got a friend in the phlegmatic, and they are adaptable. So no matter what, they can adapt to any situation because they would rather adapt than to cause conflict. Some of the challenges are that they avoid conflict. They avoid conflict at all costs. At all costs, they avoid conflict. They do it because they would rather just be quiet than to fight. They also struggle with decision making and making any decision. And they're also perceived as indecisive. Well, of course, because they have a hard time making decisions. They don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. They want to make sure that everybody agrees with their decisions. So they would just rather not make one than to and be considered indecisive than to say something that could cause a conflict or argument or anything. All right, some of the tips are encourage open expression of opinions. A phlegmatic needs to be able to express themselves. So they need a safe place to land. They need to know that you're not going to bite their head off, or you're not going to tell them that they're taking their time in something, or they're too slow, or they're too uninvolved, but you want to give them a safe place to land. You need to you need to provide support in their decision making, because a melancholy really has the ability to do anything they put their minds to. They just do it differently than all the other personality styles. They do it quietly. They do it humbly. They're not the ones that push themselves out there and let everybody know I did that. But they also need a gentle guide in order to get them to take the initiative they need. They just need a gentle push. Just come on, you can do it. They don't like to be pressured, so you just got to be gentle. If you have any questions, again, please put them in the chat. So I get to ask this question. I get asked this question all the time when I do my marriage workshops. And which couples work better together? While a sanguine and a melancholy, as well as the choleric and while the sanguine and the melancholy, as well as the choleric and the phlegmatic, have differences, their differences can complement each other when they manage effectively. So the second word should be phlegmatic, the choleric and the phlegmatic. So I want to talk a little bit about some examples of how the couples that have contrasting personality styles can make their relationships work. Now, the sanguine and melancholy are polar opposites. The choleric and the phlegmatic are polar opposites. So let's talk a little bit about the sanguine and the melancholy. The sanguine is spontaneous. It's just simple as that. They're very spontaneous personality styles. But that personality can really clash with the melancholy. And the reason why it can clash with the melancholy is because the melancholy needs order, they need perfection, and they need to make sure things make sense, right? So we want to fly by the seat of our pants as sanguines, but the melancholy is like, why we don't have a plan? Well, what happens if we do this without a plan? Where's the money coming from? Where are we taking it from? How are we going to put it back? Is it going to affect our child's college? They're really looking at the long-term effects of the things that they do. Where the sanguine says, YOLO, you only live once, and I'm going to live it to the fullest. The melancholy can find it challenging to keep up with the sanguine's constant desire for excitement and change. They don't mind sometimes, but sometimes it's like, I don't want to do that. And you have to be understanding of each other's differences. Where the sanguine needs spontaneity, it's okay. But sanguines also need structure, which we don't want to admit. And the melancholy can bring the structure to the relationship. The melancholy who finds it difficult to keep up because they need things to be in order, decency and in order, right? Has a hard time catching up with the sanguine because the sanguine is living for the moment. But the sanguine's ability to have that spontaneous personality will help lighten up the melancholy personality. So you see how you can balance each other? Let's talk about communication harmony. The sanguine's expressive and outgoing nature can balance the melancholy's more reserved and thoughtful approach. We are very expressive. We're very outgoing. We love talking to any and everybody. The melancholy only talks when it makes sense and it's purposeful. It's got to have a purpose. Otherwise, it's a waste of time for melancholy, right? But they can balance each other. That's what this whole thing is about, balance. And they do that by encouraging open communication, expression, and emotions in a positive way. And in that way, they can create a very harmonious dynamic. It's just about understanding each other's quirks, each other's differences. Planning together. The melancholy is detail oriented, right? The detail oriented nature can be great asset in planning activities or events that the sanguine wants to experience. Sanguine's always, we want to do stuff. We want to go places, do stuff. I tell my husband all the time when we go on vacation, if it's not at least 7 days, I'm not interested. I don't want to do a 5-day vacation. I need a day to travel to and a day to travel home with at least 5 days in the middle. So by encouraging open communication, expression of emotions in a positive way, and see, that's important because where the sanguine gets angry very quickly, the melancholy tends to be cynical and critical. So you have to be able to express your emotions in a very positive way. All right. Let's talk about celebrating achievements. The sanguine's enthusiasm can be infectious. We love to have fun. We love to laugh. We love to enjoy life. And the melancholy can appreciate and celebrate the sanguine's achievements. If the melancholy can do that, that is amazing, right? And the sanguine appreciates that because they like a good old pat on the back. Sanguines love our little pat on the back. Melancholies love to plan, but the phlegmatic loves the activities that go along with the planning. They love to be able to do things. All right. Let's go on to the next. Let's talk about the choleric and the phlegmatic. So the choleric is very assertive. And they could clash with the phlegmatic's easygoing nature. When you have a choleric who's a born leader, mover, and a shaker, this person is always on the go, always doing something, always accomplishing things. The phlegmatic is laid back, chill, they're cool, they're just relaxing. They rather lay down at all costs. They would rather lay down. But the phlegmatic's avoidance of conflict may frustrate the choleric, leading to communication breakdowns. That happens sometimes because the choleric wants the phlegmatic to participate in the process of their relationship, whatever's going on in their relationship. And the phlegmatic is like, you got it. Just tell me what we're going to do. For the most part, there are times when the phlegmatic was rather be very involved in what's happening, but usually they're okay with somebody else taking the wheels. Remember, they don't like conflict. Let's talk about the strategic decision-making process. The choleric's decisive nature can complement the melancholy thoughtful decision-making process. By working together, they make well-informed strategic choices. The phlegmatic can mimic all the other personality styles. So it can act like a choleric if it needs to. But the phlegmatic can do anything they put their minds to, but they come off as if, they are uninvolved and they just don't want to participate in the relationship. But they working together with the choleric, the phlegmatic, and I hope I said phlegmatic and not the choleric. The phlegmatic can mimic the choleric's personality. The phlegmatic would rather allow the choleric to take control, and they would rather just float in the relationship. But that doesn't always work well. So when they're able to come together and have a conversation, that means the choleric has to be the personality that calms down a bit, because we can be so abrasive in how we communicate, right? So let's talk about balance of structure and flexibility. The choleric's organized approach can provide structure to the melancholies or the phlegmatics' more flexible style. Together, they create a balance that allows for both stability and adaptability. Because the choleric is very organized, right? And the phlegmatic needs structure. The melancholy has more structure than the phlegmatic, but the phlegmatic needs more structure, and the choleric can help provide that. So let's talk about appreciating differences. The choleric's assertiveness may be tempered by the melancholy or the phlegmatic's calm demeanor. The melancholy is a calm demeanor, and the phlegmatic has a calm demeanor. By appreciating each of the unique strengths of them, they create a partnership where each person contributes in their own way. That's what balancing a relationship looks like. It's understanding that you have to be able to appreciate each other's differences. In all of the examples that I've given you so far, the key lies in appreciating each other's strength, in finding common ground, and actively working to balance your differences. If I am a person who has a strength and you have a weakness, that's how we balance, is that I pull upon your strength and you help me overcome my weakness. And every personality has that. I mean, every relationship has that, where you have people who have strengths and weaknesses in the relationship. And the best way to handle that is by appreciating each other's strengths, finding the common ground, and actively working to balance your differences. Successful relationships often involve a give and take approach, where each partner values what the other brings to the table. Open communication and willingness to understand and adapt are crucial for creating a strong and lasting connection. That's how you can appreciate the differences in the personalities. So here are a couple of keys. Here's the 4 keys to overcoming personality differences. The communication is key. Regardless of the personality types involved, open, honest communication is crucial. You have to allow each other to communicate effectively. You have to be open with each other. And you have to be respectful of each other. You have to discuss expectation, preferences, and concerns openly. That will help you build understanding and find that common ground we just talked about. You have to embrace differences. This is so critical. Rather than seeing differences as a challenge, view them as opportunities for growth. Celebrate each other's unique strengths and learn. That's why I do this stuff, is so that you can learn about each other. Find common interests. Find the things that you find in common. I'll give you an example of that. When I met my husband, I like football. Theoretically, I like football. I would, because I knew what a touchdown was, right? But my husband loves sports, all sports, and he loves good sportsmen, athletes. And I remember I would just, start talking to him. And during the sports event, as long as I talked about the sport, he was open to share everything he knew about the sport. And we still have that connection to this day, that when we could talk about sports, and I understand things because he is a great explainer of something that he loves and that he talks about all the time, which is sports. And I learned the sport so that we can have a common interest. Discovering shared hobbies or activities can help bridge gaps between differing personality styles. Engaging in activities that both partners enjoy fosters connection and strengthens the relationship. And now I love football more, as much as he does, I think. And I love being able to call plays, and I love to be able to see what went wrong and what they could have done differently. And I'm still hollering and yelling at the TV screen. So you also need to seek the compromise. Understand that neither personality style is inherent, superior, or inferior. You're not better than me. I'm not better than you. It's really that simple. If we find compromises that allow both partners to feel heard and respected, that is going to help us to develop a healthier relationship. And the fifth bullet, I think it's important that you found counseling and or support. In cases where the differences seem insurmountable, and I know couples who are fighting to keep their marriages together or their relationships together, or to build, stronger relationships in the workplace or with their children or their spouses or their parents. But when it seems unsurmountable, seeking help from a marriage counselor or a personality, that's me, a personality coach, can help provide valuable insights and tools to navigate your challenges. Professional guidance can facilitate a productive communication and conflict resolution. It's really not that complicated. It really is not that complicated. I think that we just need to really want to understand each other and each other's personality style. That's really critical. It goes back to, I think, my second slide, which says, for a healthy relationship, what you need is not just love, but also trust, understanding, forgiveness, commitment, and respect. This holds in all relationships, be it parenting, love, friendship, marriage, or employee relations. And the second bullet, to have someone understand your mind, not you understand your own mind, but having someone understand your mind is a different kind of intimacy. Whew, you guys. I want you guys to join me on February the 3rd for Building Forever, exploring the personalities for a stronger marriage connection. You see the QR code on the screen. Please take a picture of it or scan it, or you actually put your camera up and you can click the link and it'll take you right there so that you can register for Building Forever. I want to see you in the place. I would like to hear your questions that you have live. But until then, I want you to join me again next week on Personality Speaking, where the tea is always hot. Again, this show airs every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you like this content, please like, subscribe, and check the notification bell so you can receive our live content or even catch the replay. Personality Speaking, we are here for you. We want to help you build healthier, stronger relationships through the understanding of the personalities. Until next week, have a blessed and beautiful week, and I will see you next Wednesday. Take care, everybody.